Buenos días, yo soy muy honorada de estar aquí, and I'm switching in English. I'm sorry, also if I'm Italian. It could be great to speak my language, and then maybe you will understand my second language, English, so I will speak English. I would like to take part of my speech for thanking, for un ringraziamento. I'm the last speaker of the morning, so I can take more time to thank people than the others. I would like to thank the Foundation SEIBA for organizing this great event. I would like to thank the university and Professor Zarano for being so great and giving me the opportunity to come to this great country and to learn this new culture. I would like to thank Los Angeles, which are the angels that were with us in those days, all the students that helped us, and they were very patient, I can tell you. And I would like to thank all of you, because I believe really this is like very, very, very well organized and very well pedagogically designed event. Maybe you don't understand what will be the final result now, because you have to work on your project or on your papers, but I can tell you what you will create, it will be totally unique. And it is unique not only because it is managed by all of you together, but it is unique only because you do this. We don't have this in Italy, I can tell you. We don't have this in the United States. The fact that the institution, as well the academia, is asking you to be part of the dialogue, it's amazing. You have to keep this like really as an important part of your work. So don't just keep this as a second priority. So I would like to thank you because I'm learning from you. I'm learning from the other speaker, and this is a great experience for me too. As I told you, I'm Italian. I'm located and I'm in Rome. I'm living in Rome. I'm working in Rome, but I'm working primarily for US universities. And I will tell you what I'm doing for the US university. I didn't want to be so autoreferential or autoreferenziale, so having a speech about myself, I think maybe it's not so professional, but I think it is very important to share something about my background to better understand what I'm doing now and what are my mission inside of the education field. Recently, I had to write my CV. I'm sorry to say that, but it was a long time that I didn't write my CV. And I realized that there's like more than 20 years that I'm working in the education field. This is why I got blue hair, because I was shocked about the time that I'm working in this field. That's a joke, of course. But I started when I was 18 years old, and I was a teacher. I paid my university fee because I was a teacher with my salary. And I can tell you, after 20 years, I can say it is still the best job ever I had. Also, if I did other things after PhD, consulting job, I will tell you what I'm doing now. The teacher job, it is the best. Most of the things I learned during my experience as a teacher, I'm still using those skills and those competences. Education was actually the focus of my life. I just realized that I did my master. I did my graduation in cognitive science and communication, and then I moved to a master, and my thesis was about educating adults through new technology. So I invented a new system for using video and web for teaching. It was a time that e-learning was cool, and everybody wanted to do e-learning. Now it's not anymore, but I got a trend. Then I started teaching to managers, marketing manager. They really want to know how to do interpersonal communication. And because I did have a degree in communication, I started teaching. I said, this is a great word. I want to know more about marketing. So I went to a master, and I got a master in marketing. And I started working for communication and marketing, especially in advertising. I can tell you there is not so much difference on doing advertising and teaching, because you are teaching people what they have to do, what they have to think, what they have to buy. Did I like it? No. It is super fake, but definitely what you learn through the educational system, it is what you use for persuasion inside of the advertising. So I moved to actually a project that I wrote about teaching to prisoners in prison. So go back to the education field. I thought nobody's taking care of prisoners in prison. And they do have so much free time, and they cannot use their free time to grow professionally and also personally. So I worked on this project and I won a scholarship to go to the United States. So I was in Nova York and I started teaching there at the university. And I became a professor. I can tell you what I learned. I was a professor, but actually I was a student because I learned a new way of teaching and a new way of learning. In Italy, everything is very theoretical. Forget hands-on activity, forget practical stuff. You're stuck in your seat for hours and hours every day, and after 3-4 months you do have the exam. No interaction, no workshop, you don't know the name of the professor doesn't know your name, they don't care. That's what the Italy system of university was. What I had the opportunity to bring from the United States was this idea of being part of the process, being part of the teaching process, being part of the learning process. The teacher, the professor wanted to know our opinion, wanted to create the curriculum on our interests, and that was really good for me. So I was back to Italy, and I decided to bring this back with me, like with my professional. And I worked for the European Commission as an evaluator and researcher for educational program. There were so many funds at that time managed by the European Commission. But you know what? Me olvidava algo. I was missing my students. I was missing teaching. Something is like talking about teaching, something is teaching. That's very different. And I can tell you the truth. There's nothing that you can describe like the satisfaction, the happiness, the great feeling you do have when your students are learning. And there's no way to explain this to you. If you would be a teacher, or if you are a teacher, if you are a professor, you know what I'm talking about, right? So I was back to this and I said, okay, maybe this is the destiny. I have to go to teach, I have to work in this field. And finally, I was also in my 30s, I said, okay, start to think what I want to do in my life. And I started working in the international education. A course was super inspiring for me. It was a course about intercultural and international education by the United States, and I thought, this is great. If this can be brilliant in class, it would be amazing. Anyway, when I started thinking about this presentation, as I told you, I didn't want to be so referential, but I wanted to understand how to organize my presentation, and I decided to organize it like it is my life. 70% of the presentation will be dedicated to me as an educator, which is my full-time job, my paid-around job, and it is at Bussola. So I will tell you what I'm doing for the institute that I'm directing. And then 30% of my professional life is dedicated to research. I'm a researcher. I'm working for some university in Italy, specifically on a topic that I will describe to you, is food and design. And 20% it is my consultant job, what I'm doing for some agency and for some institution. If you count those, 70 plus 30 plus 20 is 120. I'm tired. You know, I just need to take a break because this is really what I'm putting on what I'm doing, and this is actually what I'm doing for my job. And my presentation will be long. I'm telling you now, I'm not going to summarize. So this is really define my life and this presentation today. So let's go to the first one. Sonia Massara is educator and what I'm doing at Gusto Lab International. Gusto Lab International is the first center that was created in 2007-2008. I created and designed it as the first center dedicated to food studies in Italy. How many of you knows what food studies means? Great. I need 2-3 hours. Are you free? All right. So it's a center dedicated to give the opportunity to the students to learn about the culture through food. When I started, I didn't know so much about food. I have to tell you the truth. I went back to the university, and this is why I started a PhD in engineering, food related, because I needed to know more about food. But I'm telling you the truth, I was learning with my students. Every time I was designing a course, designing a program, designing a trip, designing an excursion, I was learning with them and through all the professionals that I was in touch with. So this center was actually dedicated to provide a high-level quality university education. In Italy, we don't have food studies also. So in 2007, when people were saying food studies, nobody in Italy knew what does it mean. We currently work with several US universities, means that they are just sending us back and forth students, graduate, undergraduate, researcher, like also scholars, professor that wants to make research with us. And we provide programs now in the spring, in the summer, in the fall, and we always have 80, 90 students every semester coming and bringing courses that, if you take a look, are really different from. I'm not, how can I say, a seller of courses. I don't have a catalog because we never create a catalog of courses. I strongly believe you have to tailor it, your course, choosing and analyzing what are the real needs of your students, of the university that you're working with, on the future career that your students has to do. This is why it's so unique, Ursula, because it is not like a school where you take a course and you're saying, okay, I wanted this course on engineering. Those are some of the courses that we do have, but I do have more and more. There's no one brochure that can bring those courses together. But for me, every time that I'm designing a new course, it's a way of thinking differently about the pedagogy of food, the pedagogy of thinking, and the pedagogy of learning. So it's really a work in progress. It is never fixed. You can get on Facebook and see daily what the students are doing, because students are part of the process, and see what kind of activities they are doing with their professor and more. And as your colleague was saying, I'm the academic director at the University of Illinois. Why? Because at the beginning it was not so easy to create this institute. Now I'm telling you what it is, but after 9 years, the beginning was just like one course, tailored to students, training of people in Italy to accept my students, training of people to speak with my students, training the professor from the university coming and speak to my students was a long process. Now it is very structured, so it works. But the beginning was really hard, and the University of Illinois trusts us. And it was the first university in the United States saying, we trust you, give us courses, provide us ideas, provide us excursion, field trips, we will approve those. And that's why their students are taking credits by us. In 2012, I won another award, not the one that was mentioned before. It's called the Tecnovisionaria. I think it sounds good also in Spanish, the Visionaria one. Yeah, it sounds also weird, because if people are calling you Visionaria, you never know if it's a compliment or not. Anyway, they gave me this award, and the award was because I got the idea of changing the university. It was 2012, I still have time to do this. But my idea was like bringing people from the field in class and bringing the professor outside of class in the field. So I wanted farms, and I got the opportunity to bring farmer in my class, producer, people with stores, gelateria people, people that were just the worker. The worker were my professor were outside, seeing the place, seeing the field, and doing stuff. So this was Tecnovisionaria. I think now it works, because in the past 4 years I was continuing doing this. And this is what I'm continuing doing with my students. Students are actually part of the process. But what is food studies? So, actually, food here in Spanish, in Colombia, they told me, does have the same meaning. I have to use alimento and comida. Food is bringing both together. And actually, food studies started in the United States, not in Italy. Around 2000, 2001, in the United States, people started to freak out about food. There were so many documentaries, maybe some of you know, Super Size Me, Food Inc., Fast Food Nation. Did you heard all of those? They are just keeping the people in the field of food saying, hey, do you know where your food, where your meals is coming from? And people started to be very, very scared. They were saying, I had no idea. They came out, all of those companies, all of those globalized systems, and they had no idea. They were listening to the media, but they were not trusting anymore the media. So the civil society went back to the academia, to the university, to the NYU University specifically, saying, hey, can you tell us what kind of food we are eating? What kind of food we should eat for surviving in this very hill world? And so the pioneeristic way how the NYU did was including 2 courses in the nutrition department. One was history of food and one was food culture.
That was revolutionary. How many of you are in the nutrition department? Nobody? Do you know more or less what they are studying? They don't study history, I can tell you. They don't study history in Italy too. The idea of bringing people to learn the history, to learn the past, to better understand the present, was actually revolutionary. And I used to say that this is, for me, was the beginning of the food studies. After that, all the US universities started opening food studies programs, food studies department, food studies courses, and the idea was really bringing people to better understand that food is not just what you eat. Food is climate change, it is agriculture. We did have so many thought about this with the speech before. It is like way of thinking of the people and how the consumer are impacting in the market. Food is consumer approach, it is economy, sociology. One of you were saying, well, I can do as a sociologist a lot, because food is really a complex system. And so, thanks to this, the food studies started to grow and impacting in different departments, not only nutrition, but also the other department. So, the food studies curriculum got this new idea of bringing together not only the lectures, but also the real world, because there is no way to learn about production and commercialization of food if you don't go out from this class and you see exactly what the people are doing, what the people are producing, and how the people are distributing the food. So food studies, actually, most of the people are saying that it's a new emergent field or a new emergent discipline. It is not for me. It was there before, but didn't have this transdisciplinary approach. What does it mean? I used to say to my students, transdisciplinarity means when each of the discipline has a lens and is checking an issue with his own lens. If I'm switching my lens with another discipline, I can see with different eyes a problem, and maybe together we can solve it. This is my definition of transdisciplinarity, and this is how food studies grow. Before we did have agriculture department, nutrition department, communication department, they were not talking together. And when the people realized that how food was important for our survival, they realized that it was important to try to make a dialogue with all of those disciplines. So actually, consumers started to talk with farmers, and stakeholders from different fields started to talk together. Academia went out and started to talk with institutions. So the food studies power was really big. It is a discipline. Not yet. I believe we can call it field of study. And as a field of study, it's much better because we can experiment a lot. The disciplines does has already his own educational tools to be used, sometimes very restricted and not flexible. As a field of studies, we can really explore how to use food for educating people in different way. So, and this means, of course, going out and see the real world again. Those are great buffalo mozzarellas production in south of Italy. So what are the strengths of food studies? Actually, to create and to work in food-related project. Food-related project means research, but also learning project. Using no conventional teaching and learning methods. What does it mean? The fact of bringing no formal education inside of a university where it's total formal, it is already revolutionary. So it is a way of thinking and managing and changing exactly what we consider is the university educational system. Transdisciplinary field of study, I already told you what I mean, and creating new curriculum is also good because thanks to the fact that some universities were really interested to open a new food studies certificate or degree or master or PhD, they were very open to create new curriculum. But the most important things for me is the community engagement. Food studies department, food studies programs are totally connected with the community. I use this word sometimes. I like the word hyperlocal, iperlocale. The fact of working from your community to developing something that then it can become global or bigger scale. But it is good going back to your city, to your town, to your little village and see what you can do there. And another important thing that happened in the United States was that the food studies were able to create food movements and to force new food policies. So they were able, as professors, to become very popular, not only in TV, but as part of the, dialogue with institution, which was very important and interested. Let's think about Michelle Obama with the Let's Move movement and all the urban gardening that she's like trying to reinforce inside of big cities in the United States. But there are weaknesses. Of course, there are always weaknesses. The students for me in food studies, and I went in the past 8 years in national and international conference about food studies, are really good observers, but they don't know how to solve problems. They are great analyzers. They are coming out with great theses. Oh, this is like how the corn works in Illinois. That's a typical thesis that I used to receive. And I say, okay, so how we can solve this? Do you have an idea? No, I didn't think was part of the assignment. Well, if there is a problem, we have to solve it. Thanks, there is a lack of educational tools. Because it's so new, people don't know how to teach in this field. So it is time to define an epistemology? I don't think so. It's good not having an epistemology because we can really use all our knowledge. When I'm saying this means that you from engineering can give me like an idea to better create a course and a program. You from physics, you from chemistry, you from history, you from sociologists can give me a tool, an educational tool that can be used to create a new program and a course. And this is amazing. It means like using all those epistemology, all those pedagogies together. So I like the educational challenge. I like the fact that it's still growing. It is not fixed. In the food field, unfortunately, does have problems coming all the time. When you solve one, you have another one already to fix it. And the agriculture field, to let you know, it's one of the biggest that we have to work on. As I told you, from discovery, we have to pass to transdisciplinary analysis. It's great learning, it's great researching, it's great collecting data, but then if you're not able to solve problems, everything that you are doing is not so helpful. And the educational tool and the collection of data sometimes are great, but they are not able to communicate with the people what they discovered. I've been to several conferences in the past 2 months where scientists, and when I'm saying scientists, I don't know what you consider as a scientist, but they were just complaining and they were very sad, say, nobody's listening us. What did you do for changing the way of communicating? You're still using the same method since like 1950, and of course people are not listening. You are going to the policymaker with like 150 pages of report, which is totally technical. People don't have an idea what you're talking about, and now you're complaining that your research was not applied to a policy. You have to figure out how to change the way of communicating to policymakers, to institutions, and to civil society. Because unfortunately, there will be no someone coming with a new method till when the scientists will try a new way of communicating. So let's go back to me. Food studies, I told you already, is a really complicated and complex system of educational goals. Study abroad, it's another great and difficult word in which I'm working with. So think about it. They're staying limited time in Rome. 4 months, 1 month, 2 weeks, sometimes 1 week. Now I'm actually also designing program for 1 week. So I don't know why, but they are just asking this. Cultural background. In a class, I do have 26 students, 26 different backgrounds. They're coming from different departments, different level of education, different university, different countries, different cultures. So totally different. They are not from food studies, all of them. So some of them are just deciding to take those courses because they want to learn about food, but they're not from food studies. First time out of their country. When I'm saying out of their country, means not out of the United States, means out of Illinois. So they have no idea what is out of, totally lost. Familiar with 1 or 2 food perspective. Usually it's the mom and the dad perspective about food. Do you have any food culture? No, that's the answer. Language barrier, they don't know my language, so we have to help them, and they don't want to take language course. They don't think it's important. They say, I speak English, people in Rome speak English, everybody can understand me, so why I need language. Social network sharing in real time. I'm always connected with, not with 26 students, but with 2,300, I was counting. Each of them, it is connected by Facebook with all their friends. So if I'm teaching them something, I'm teaching to 5,000 people at the same time. Because they are Snapchat, you know those kind of things? That's crazy. I mean, I was in 1,000 video in the past 1 week, which is really crazy. I'm happy that they disappear after they told me about it, I hope. They are coming with a style. I'm an expert in journalism. I'm an expert in nutrition. I'm an expert in agriculture. They are already experts, so I don't know why they are coming to learn abroad. And they are not open-minded at all. They're suspicious. What is this country about? They're so weird, those people here. And why I'm here, they're asking themselves after a week. Their awareness, we know we're different. That's what they're saying from the first day. You in Italy, me in the United States. You guys do differently. We don't do this there. I'm facing this kind of conversation daily, every hour. Troubles. I'm doing well or I'm doing not. Am I trying the good food? Am I doing correctly? Am I learning or maybe not? They're always in troubles. And, well, they do have uncertain things. Most of them, they're coming with an idea about Italy, very stereotyped. Some of them are coming with a very strong Italian-American identity. Some of them are coming with a very strong food perspective. They believe in fair trade. There's no way to say fair trade sometimes doesn't work. No, they're telling to a coffee roaster in the south of Italy that fair trade works. And this guy is saying, no, I'm telling you, I'm giving the coffee from some places and it doesn't work. They're like slaves and stuff. No, no, no. At the university, they told me that fair trade works. This is for slow food, organic, whatever movement, veganism. Now we do have this great movement about veganism and we have to trust them. I don't know. Certain lists. Yeah, I'm sure that what you are presenting has to be checked when I go home. So they don't trust us. They're just coming, they're learning, but they don't really trust us so much. And they're interested, but also they don't like to be part of, okay? I'm here, that's Italy, that's great food culture, but let's keep this out of my way of living, way of doing. This, I told you what is difficult, but telling you the truth, the study abroad does have a lot of potentialities that you can use it. And I used to say that most of my work and most of my challenging and successful work was dedicated to this critical approach about food. I used to tell the students, I'm not telling you what is good and what is bad. I'm telling you how you have to look at. And then you have to go back to your country and analyze your country. I'm not telling you eat Mediterranean diet when you're back to the United States. It's totally unuseful and it's totally incorrect. I don't want to colonize with my culture and food culture another country. I just wanted to let you know that every single place in the world does have a food culture that has to be learned to better understand your food culture, to preserve it, to focus in the system, to solve problems, and to grow and to innovate. Pedagogically, I'm using this system, which is called NAM, Narrative Activities Model. I'm not going in depth in, I told you I need 3 hours otherwise. Anyway, my idea is every time I'm designing activities or I'm designing a course and a program, I'm thinking like 4 steps. The exploration, the inspiration, the production, and the sharing. Every single activity has to follow those 4 steps. Also like the stupid activity, like eating a gelato or eating a mozzarella or like meeting with the farmer should just be organized in this kind of system. And because the focus of today was just giving you some glance of some method that I'm using, I'm going to present you 3 methods. The project-based learning. How many of you knows about this word? All right, so a few of you. Well, for me, telling you like simply what does it mean is I want learner who become educator and they understand they are part of. This is why I do project-based learning. So if you are able to change and to transform your learner in an educator during a course, you are in the right path. And that means giving them the opportunity to be part of. Let me see if I can use the technology correctly now. I want to show you one of the program. I think seeing is always better. Let me see. You want music a little bit? Too much. So this is a program to let you know that project-based learning means giving the opportunity to the students not only be immersed in the territory, in the culture, but also be part of. Those students spend a month out of Rome because the program was on sustainability. How I can teach sustainability and and farming and food system in the metropole of Rome? So they had to go out and they were with farmer part of the analysis. So those farmers were asking them to help them to find solution. And be part of is this. You become educator because you are using the knowledge you collected during the courses in Rome to help them to find a solution. Doesn't mean that they're coming and teaching. They are coming and they work with the farmer to find a new solution or to find a way of doing. Before, and I'm using this, you are watching at the same time, some people were saying, what about natives and natives community, what we can do? Definitely, there is no one standard solution. You have to go with them to find a solution for them, with them. This is the engagement of the community in the process of learning and the process of teaching. This is urban farming, for example. I choose for you the shortest. And then another, this is like a course, but for example, wait, I can do that. Another opportunity that they do have, the students, is the internship, which is a research internship. It's not just go to a place and learn, but it's be part of the research with the people that are working with my students. This is urban farms, and it's actually in Rome, inside of the city of Rome. You can take the bus to get there. You can see Rome and the landscape. They are trying to feed in the city. I agree with him that there's no good and bad, good organic, bad industrial. There is a way of creating food system that works. It means that you have to keep food as part of the city. You have to understand who are your consumer and what kind of demand you can create it. And then creating the food system that works. This is coffee one. This is a social farming, actually. It's very new in Italy, the idea of social farming, so including people with diversities and disabilities inside of the farming activities. So US students got the opportunity to be a month with those farmers and analyzing how the food coming out from those farms can be presented in markets and supermarkets. You don't realize it if food is made by some social farming in a supermarket. There is no sign off. So they work together and they were able to create like a best practice for, this is wine. She created a system for teaching students about wine. So she spent the day working in the vineyard, but in the afternoon she had to design an educational course for US students to learn about wine. That's flour and bakery. All of those are undergraduate students by different departments and different universities. It doesn't mean that they want to become baker in the future, but being a baker really it's helpful for a chemistry student who wants to learn about food. And this student specifically, she's a social science student, and she was in a bakery. She wanna know how bread is part of our culture. So she wanna learn bread as food culture and cultural product. So this was her research. That's food waste. This student worked with a professor on a project on food waste, and believe me, you know what she discovered? That nobody knows what does it mean food waste. Producers have no idea what does it mean. Restaurants people have no idea, and consumers. So she created a guideline for all of those that can be used, and she prepared a report for policymakers to teach them about food waste. But be part of means that she realized that she's part of the food waste. She's not out. She's not an analyzer. She's part of the problem, and she needs to solve it. That's crowdfunding farming. Crowdfunding means finding funds to help people to grow their farms. So they went in this farm in the north of Italy, and they're helping them creating a target in Asia to help them to get money for growing their food system there. So yeah, that's funny. They wanted this, I put it in the video, but yeah, they really enjoy it. And that's it. So all of those videos are, just to let you know, on our Vimeo page. Why? Because they are educational product. So you can bring it, you can put this in class, and you can start talking with your students using those like glance, and of course they are becoming educational tools. Let's go back here. So again, there are strengths and weakness in all the things we do. The strengths is the fact that I can open their mind and I can give them the opportunity to get more immersed in a culture, and I can help them to work in group and using also multidisciplinary group to make their project available. The weakness is still that they are thinking that for facing the problems, they have to solve the problem in other countries. I do have almost 80% of the students that wants to solve problem here in Colombia instead of Illinois, and I'm always asking, do you know Colombia? Do you have an idea about it? No, I just check on web, and I saw that they do have some problems. Why? I mean, let's work on your problem in Illinois first, and then let's see how we can move it doors. Second method is the storytelling. Yesterday, Leslie, who is not, yeah, she's here, she was talking about stories. Stories are very important, and when the storytelling come out, means that you are in a good path, because people are just not anymore observer, but they are interpreting and they are narrating. So this is the goal, trying to help the students to be narrator. I realized that food helps a lot. Everybody eats. Everybody likes eating. Everybody likes food in Italy, of course. And I did like survey, and I realized that food was a way for them to communicate with the other. The best way of communicating with the other. The conviviality of food, it is something that you cannot replace in another way. And it came out that food is way to interact, good way to interact. So I say, okay, let's use this. Let's help them to use food to narrate, and help them to use food for not promoting our culture, we don't need it, to documenting, to create a document about our culture. And we started those projects about video. I'm showing you part of, this is about food waste. All of the students are not media students. They don't have any knowledge and skills. And what we do is like making a very short research, 6 hours, very short, on topics that can be interested for them. And this is one. There are like several in the web page of Vimeo. And we work together to find a good question for people. The question, what is food waste, doesn't work in a narration. There are so many things that you can say, but what does it mean?
4 years ago,
changing the perspective of food waste can be more interesting. So then the students used to go interviewing producer, people in the stores, the chefs, or more, and they are giving, and then they're editing all of those in 10 hours. So what you see now, it's managed in 10 hours. 6 hours filming and 5 hours more or less of editing. They're not professional. We just hire a professional video maker who is helping them to use the technology, but you don't need technology for narrate. The hardest part is to create the story, to create something that people will watch it, and maybe they will change the way of thinking. Leslie yesterday was saying, everything that you are saying can really impact on the people. This is how those videos are creating a reaction. If you watch all of those videos that they made, and they're like 7 minutes, very short, then you will go home and you will say, oh, maybe I didn't realize this, or through the experience of the students, I had a different perspective of food. I'm not promoting my students or what I'm doing. This is something that you can do in your class. It's easy. It's actually very easy. And now with new technology, you can edit stuff with your iPhone. You don't need very high-level technology to do what is this. But the impact that your final product can have on the people really can change the way of thinking, the way of acting. They woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning to take those videos by themselves because they realized that what they needed to create their stories and
things in the garbage.
And another example, which I think maybe you will like it, was to be part of a festival, which is a bread festival in Italy. And this festival called Cerealia, so the festival of cereals. And they were part of this festival as video maker. Again, without any knowledge about how video making. They collected, I think, 25 hours of filming because they had no idea what they want to say. So they collected everything. Interviews, people in the street, activities, everything. And then they came to me and they say, so what we have to do now? I say, well, now it's time to narrate. But we had 20 hours of filming, what we can do. And the hardest part is selecting and creating their own story. So they realized that this festival was totally unknown in Rome. Nobody knew about this festival. And they said, we should create a documentary to tell and to ask the people, not to ask, sorry, to tell the people that those kind of festival can help to preserve tradition. So they found questions from past to future, how we can preserve tradition, how those kind of events can really impact on the way of remember of the people. And so they create this great story. It's actually very long, this, but keeping all of those videos and all of those images together, they're really providing something that can be used not only to teach about our food culture, but also to teach how to preserve your food culture in your country. Yeah, I just show you. It doesn't happen every day in Rome, okay? It was just like the event. And thanks to this video, they got funds, and now they're just replacing this event every year. So that's the part of the community engagement that we do. Everything that we do, it's a part of the community. All right? Let me see. Food waste. I think I'm very late, right? Super late. And then the last one is the design thinking approach. Design thinking approach helped me to change the students as analyzer to become researcher, to become solver. So, because I told you most of the time they know how to see problems, to see and to analyze issue, but they don't know how to solve it. I told you my background because I started with interaction design. My background is in design. And the design method works in this way. Empathy, so you need to be empathic with the target you're working with. Then you have to define what is the problem. Don't trust brief or don't trust what the people are telling you. You have to do a lot of ethnographic research to learn exactly what are the problems of the people. Sometimes I'm telling you, like the real world, policymakers had no idea what are the problems of the people, and they're telling you, we should solve this problem. You have to go and check by yourself what are the real problems and start to tell them what we have to do. Then, when you define what is the problem, it's time to ideate. The word prototype, it's very technical and very design style, but in the design thinking, prototype means finding an idea, finding a solution, okay? And then you have to test it. So those three phases can be actually explained with inspirational phase, ideation phase, implementation phase. In the materials I left to you, you do have a lot about this. If you're interested in this, you can get there and you can read it. And Stanford University and IDEO are providing great kit online that you can watch it and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. I used to say to my students that the final idea is 10% of our work. 90% it is dedicated to searching. Searching. They are very frustrated. They're saying, oh my gosh, it's like the entire course that we're searching, we don't have anything in our hand. I say, good. That's what I wanted. In the last class, you really realized what is the solution, and that's what I want. The design thinking idea, it's becoming very popular as an approach. The idea is like to using the design method to help people to think differently. For thinking differently means that you are not teaching people to be creative. You are helping people to use their creativity. People are already creative. All of you are creative. The point is that you forgot how to use your creativity. So the design thinking approach, and if you're a teacher, what you have to do with yourself is what you do with your kids. Exactly the same approach. And this can become a very good approach also at the university level. Because if we take care of the human part, the business part, and the feasibility of, we will be able to innovate. This is the only way of innovating and going ahead in the process of growing. Yesterday someone said, what does it mean you don't take care, we were talking about peace building, I think, and someone said, but you don't take care about the human beings or like the human part. I'm telling you, in the design thinking, human beings, human factor, it's 100% the focus. We work on values. We actually wants to exalt the values that are already existing. We don't invent new things. We just want to see what is already there and we try to exalt. This is how the new ideas come out. I'm showing you briefly. Do you like to see the video more than just listening because they're giving you a better insight? No? If not, I can speak. No, this one. I want to see the other one. That was good too, but here we are. The target of this course, the target of this course are like 24 students from upstate New York and 11 males, 13 girls, I don't remember exactly. So what they did for their course, 4-month course, was just experience. For a month and a half, maybe 2 months, they were experience food. Food, cooking, wine tasting, farm visit, stuff like that. Also funny part, eating out tour. I don't know how I can leave this part. Meeting with chef, meeting with professionals, analysis of food habits, analysis of innovation and tradition, both, to see both. Let me just keep less this. All right, you want music, I know, but it's hard to speak and it's very high. This is like a multicultural market in Rome. It is managed by almost 12 different ethnicities. So think about this. It's hard to explain this to your students in your country. I have to explain this to students that are coming from a different food culture, a different culture and a different country. And talking with them about integration and multiculturalism sometimes is hard. So the best for me is like going with them in a market and giving them the opportunity to talk with people, giving translation, helping them in mediating their conversation to help them to better understand what does it mean nowadays migration and multiculturalism in Italy. Trying to help them to learn about the diversities and what does it mean diversity in Italy. So they have to do assignments all the time, of course. They have not just fun for 2 months. Here we went to work. So we went to this farm, urban farm, and they had to work. And the best was just chatting with the owner of those places to better understand what are the problems of the Romans nowadays. And you know, the Romans need those places to be more connected with earth, because the human beings that are currently living in the city don't know anymore anything about earth. And of course they have no idea about the production. Those are farm outside, they do cheese, traditional cheese, they see and they interact with the farmer to see what does it mean traditional artisanal cheese or industrial cheese. Most of them didn't see any artisanal cheese in their life. So when we go there, they are already shocked about the fact that cheese comes from the milk. I'm sorry to say that. It's like, I never thought that it was milk coming to the cheese. I'm not like taking this as a joke of them. I'm learning from them every time, because what for you is simple, it is not simple for them, okay? Pigs. Was great to tell them about the reproduction of pigs to 12 vegans in a class, which was like, okay, but you should know how the pigs are producing other pigs. And then they say, I'm vegan. Who cares? I mean, you have to know how they do it. And then you can stay vegan. I don't want to change your point of view. And then we used to bring them with Italian students. I think this is super important. There's no way how I'm teaching them and they need to be in a bubble. So I bring, because I do have the opportunity of teaching in Italian universities, to bring my students with my American students, and this is giving like 120% more opportunities to them. So we make a lot of those posters where all our thought, all our discovering are going, and then we present, we narrate. This is like a great assignment. They have to identify the identity of the city of Rome, which is an hard job for me. I'm not from Rome, but I'm Italian. It's hard. For them, it was super hard. But it was great. Each of them came out with a different things. This is amazing. Those are like all food culture inside of this triangle. And when you put them inside, you can't see anymore your own food culture, which is like the idea that the students had about integration in the city of Rome. So each of those were like presenting themselves and their idea about the identity, which is so cool. I mean, you can find a good idea if you don't know exactly what does it mean, the identity that they do have. You're not going to change the identity, you're going to preserve and to enhance those. And then this is the ideation part, just one class, two class maybe, about this. They have to figure out how some places in Rome can be improved thanks to food. So some of them came out with like a park with street food. Others had the idea of creating artistic area in which food is part of. But the fact that was really super interesting was that they were using the people and they were chatting with the people. They were not just inventing something for Rome. They were part of the system. They were part of this thinking about the city, which I think is super, super important. And most of the study abroad don't do this. They're just presenting, this is Rome, they're romantic, the food is great, enjoy. No. I mean, we're not romantic. The food is good, but we do have obesity, and it's much better to be immersed, right? Oh, sorry. I know, I'm a mom in my other 30% of the life. Okay, those are the students you saw before. I'm just skipping this part because I was summarizing during the video. But as you see, I was using media and tools that the students do have in their hand. I did the Instagram journal. Nobody wants to do a journal, you do by Instagram. You're in Instagram 24 hours a day. I want a picture by the course. So they had to do this daily, and I can tell you, it's the great Instagram haver. I do have perspective of 24 students daily for 4 months about food in Italy. And we use those images to talk and to narrate and to create interaction. And then the identities of Rome, I told you, and the storytelling and design, they were not architects. They had not to make a space or a prototype. They had to narrate their idea at the end. That was the final assignment. You see, that's it. Do I have the 20% minutes or not? I am 12:05, so yes, I do have it, 15 minutes. Sonia Massari is a researcher. I told you to have a PhD in engineering. The 30% of my job is about this, and it's including this new subject or new discipline or new field of study, which is food design. Food and design. What does it mean? I'm doing this inside of Gustula, but primarily out of Gusto Lab. I'm working with the Politecnica di Design in Milan, and I'm working with the ISEA Design School in Rome. And I strongly support the idea that the food design will become more and more important. And food design, for Gade, is not creating a meal. I'm also a bad cooker. I'm not a good chef. I don't like to cook, all right? So food design is something else. It's teaching innovation. It's designing a better world. No, I think the world is amazing. We just destroy it, but we need to figure out how to rehab our world. The world is already great. It's creating a world for sustainable natives. This is my core mission. And I wrote also an article about this. You know what does it mean, digital natives? Nativo digitales? Okay, it's when you are born in a world where everything is digital, you don't have any effort to use it. You have those kids using iPad without any effort. They know already how to do it. It's intuitive. I want a world where everything is so sustainable that there's no effort. How we can do this? Designing everything for sustainability. What does it mean? If you have a world where everything it is designed and created to be sustainable, people will follow that. Nowadays, it's hard to be sustainable. We have no idea what does it mean to be sustainable, most of us. And secondly, it is really hard. I like the fact that food design doesn't have limits and doesn't say, oh, this is not food design. I don't like when people are saying this. I like the idea of thinking the design approach in food as like a really big picture in which all of you can participate, not as a designer. You will not become designer, but you need to be part of the design method and process. So all of you can be part of this. And learning creative thinking is what I told you already. It also like a platform started, which is about food education. As food studies grow very fast in the past 15 years, food design started almost 5 years ago as a way of thinking, educating people on food design. And I'm telling you, look at there, maybe somewhere, Bogota. Last year or 2 years ago, there was the International Sudamerica conference on food design here in Bogota, where the Red Latinoamericana de Food Design was actually presented. And the idea of this network, it's really pretty cool. And I'm learning from them too, because they're working on local needs. And this is the best when you are creating innovation. They're working, and this is why there is the Latinoamericana Red, there is the Network North America. I'm working to create the European one. I really want to see what we can do in innovation in food in the different areas of the world. Specifically, my research touched the sustainable diets. So it doesn't mean that you have to eat only healthy. You can eat healthy in a sustainable way. And it doesn't mean that I'm working only on nutrition. I'm working on communities, on transformation, on lifestyle, on social well-being, on family. Why not? So I'm just showing you several pictures, which are ideas. I'm not a designer in a way that I'm really doing product design. I'm creating new scenarios. A new scenario means providing to companies, to institutes, to countries, to municipalities, idea on how we will eat in the future and how we should actually do for helping the people to be eating better and in a more sustainable way. We don't have to go in depth in this, but just to get an idea on how many different perspectives you can use in the food design. At the Cumulo Food Design Working Group we did last year, we defined that the best area in which the food design will grow in the next 10 years. If you check there, maybe there are some areas that are interesting also for you. Personally, I think the next frontiers are the agroecology, which is a fancy and cool way of talking about agriculture. But now this word is so cool, everybody uses agroecology, so let's use agroecology. But the point is, I really believe agriculture needs help, needs participation by all the actors, and need more design systems inside. Social business also, I think it's a very good area in which the food design will grow. Politics, policy, and science. Why? Because policymakers need to listen to us. And civil society doesn't have any media, any tools to be able to create conversation with policymakers. And I'm jumping to my last job, which is consultant, where the mission of me is like creating a systemic food world. And I was thinking what I'm going to present there. I thought because I want to talk about policy, and I heard yesterday people were just thinking about the connection between academia and the politics and the economy part of the country. I want to show you what I did last year with 80 students from all around the world. My, how you say, commitment, like my, who pay me? My bosses, it's a foundation, was a foundation, the Barilla Center for Food and Nutrition. Have you heard Barilla pasta in your life? I believe so. And the Barilla does have a foundation which is dedicated to research about nutrition, sustainable agriculture, food waste, and food issue, malnutrition in general. So we actually, let me see, because I don't have the video here. Let me show you the video, which will help us. Ooh, sorry. Here we are. Here we are. Okay. I designed this event using design, using the knowledge I do have in education. So we got this opportunity to bring 80 students, researchers, millennials, young people from all around the world in Parma, in Italy. We asked them to do a role playing. We divide them in 7 categories: farmer, educator, researcher, journalist, policymaker, and, I don't remember that, business people, like food business people. We invited experts, and those students did have the opportunity to work for a day and a half together with the expert. Using design thinking approach, they wrote at the end what we call it Youth Manifesto. And the Youth Manifesto is the commitment that the young people nowadays do have for changing the world in the future. In 5 years, they will become policymaker journalists.
Are for you. For you. And indeed anyone who calls planet Earth home. For you policymaker, you farmer, you business person, journalist, activist, or researcher, they are for you, citizen.
That's the Minister of Agriculture in Italy. That's the Youth Manifesto. There's a website where you can actually read it. As you can see, it's just saying in 5-10 years we will be the people deciding. So don't keep us out. We want to know what we will do in 5 years. So if I will be policymaker, I will do this. If I will be farmer, I will do that. If I will be educator, I will be that. So the main purpose why I'm showing you this, it is not just because it's a super event, super funny, but because I think it does have a very strong message. There's no way to change something if we don't work all together in all of those categories. Every time the farmer was saying, we should do this, there was no solution if the other 6 of people were not applying or they were not part of the system. It seems stupid, it seems simple, but it is not. The idea of the Youth Manifesto was really this. And just to let you know, that was not only a, how I can say, a propaganda stuff. After that, let me see, where is it? I can find the other video, I don't know where is it. It's online. By the way, there is another, oh, here we are. Commission heard about this, and after a month, they asked us to, with some of the young people that were involved, to go to the European Commission to talk with policymakers. And they are now part of the discussion, specifically on the topic of education and the topic of sustainable agriculture. Those are all policymakers, now they're eating, but actually they are policymakers or who has to drive the report for next year for the global goals that we do have. The DGS goals were presented by two speakers today and yesterday, but was unique. That's why I told you at the beginning, that's unique what you're doing, because if they're listening you, because you have tangible stuff in your hand, that's the way how we have to do. And they were listening, they were shocked at first. They say, oh my gosh, you did this in a day and a half? And we used to spend 3 years to make it this. Huh? And we say, well, we know, that's why. And now we are part of the conversation. We are part of the process, and we are invited to a different meeting every 2 or 3 months. Now I don't remember. I'm following the researcher, the young researcher, but they're just doing this by themselves. And let me see, where is my presentation? And let me end it. Okay. Sorry. Those young people become a group of alumni. They become closer and closer, and they're currently working together to make stuff. The last that we did was a survey on food education. We asked all of them to tell us what kind of food education programs they do have in their country. Just to shock you, in Italy we don't have any food program at the school. We don't teach about food. We think that is in the DNA, I think, because we don't teach kids to eat or good food or good production. We don't teach any levels. So we ask also to the other countries, and we work together. Sorry. I was describing this one. But the video was working, right? No, I think it takes only time. No. It seems that my time is over, so the computer decided for me.
Perhaps we can disconnect and then connect again.
Did I try?
Yep.
Super, and I will conclude.
No.
No, it takes time a little bit, no? Wait. Here we are. You can read on the website more about it, but they call it alumni of this event, and they're working together to make it this. I told you we did this survey, and from the survey came out the fact that we do have several ways of teaching about food at the school, and we got the idea of creating a workshop last year on food education. So we asked 25 researchers and students to come from different disciplines and to work together on devices and ideas to teach about food inside of the school. And I'm ending and concluding this with a kind of gift. If you go to the website, I know some of you are PhD candidate or PhD or doctorate or postdoc. The foundation this year launched a call for project. Means that if you do have a good idea, send it an application. They're giving €20,000 grant for a year research for seeing the world changing. Of course, should be food related, but it's a great opportunity for people that are doctorate or postdoc or PhD to be part of. To be part of means also to be selected. Maybe you will be not the winner, but you can enter in this like big networking. So, for concluding, I think everything that I was presented at dedicated to study abroad, to design, to the work I did with the foundation, but definitely can be replaced in every country, in every system, educational system, and it can be adapted to several needs. I strongly believe that we do have choice, and we have to use our choice. I strongly believe that the lens I told you before, the transdisciplinarity lens, are not only disciplinary lens, but are also cultural lens. So if we are able to use the lens of our culture, definitely we will see the problems in a different way, and maybe we can find a better solution for. I strongly believe that the purpose for all of us will be to help our students to become innovators. And to be innovator doesn't mean that you have to invent a new app. 99% of my students think that being innovator means inventing an app. Means inventing, or better, creating, or better, exalting culture that exists already. So the best for innovating is learning from what we do have and searching, making a lot of research to figure out what it works in a bigger system. So be hyper-local to better understand the global world. Thank you.